From the Audi Performance Studio, welcome to Jets Overtime, presented by SiriusXM.
To his left, play clock at 3. Takes the snap, drops the throw on 4th and 8. Well protected, looks left, heaves a bomb down the middle of the field. It is broken up by Jordan Whitehead. The Jets are gonna win it. The Jet defense needed to come up big one last time, and come up big they did. What a day for the Jet defense.
Great call from the voice of the Jets, Bob Wischusen. The New York Jets stun the defending NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles 20-14 at MetLife Stadium. The green and white head into the bye with a 3-3 record. They've won 2 games. Anthony Becht, Quincy Enunwa here inside the Audi Performance Studio. Gentlemen, what an effort.
Yeah, it was really incredible. You know, it starts with obviously the defense. I mean, to do what they did against Jalen Hurts, to really shut them down, force the turnovers, quite frankly, and really contain Jalen Hurts. I thought there was a lot of great team speed overall from our defense that really kind of took away those monster run plays. And they really, you know, we had just talked about, they didn't really get the run started at all. So they're kind of a one-sided team. And to me, it just looked like from Jalen Hurts' body language, really, and from remarkably in the fourth quarter, was just extremely down. I mean, he looked like a man that was defeated. He had no answers. He didn't have that pop on his on the balls when he threw them. And to me, it just showed that he was indecisive on what, you know, he really wanted to do with it. And the pressure was getting to him, whether it was just from pressures or just the D-line pressure. And nobody was kind of showing out outside of Brown, who had a spectacular game, some big catches, but they had to earn all those catches. Yeah. Wasn't like he was wide open. So offensively, again, we talk about it every week. If you don't turn the ball over, Q, you got a chance to be in the football game. Yep. And that's how it worked out. Fourth quarter comes around, you find yourself, hey, within less than a field goal, if you can make some stops and get the ball back, you can find a way to win.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, this game was really won by the defense. They did a great job today. You think about what all those things were going into this game, all the things you were worried about, Jalen Hurts running the ball. They got their running backs running the ball. Great job of shutting that down. Jalen Hurts was rattled. There's no doubt about that. He was making some plays. I mean, talk about defensive genius. They really did a good job. You're down 2 corners, and you were able to still make it confusing for Jalen Hurts. He's throwing picks into the directions that he should never be throwing them. You got A.J. Brown obviously had a game, but like you said, it was tough for him. He wasn't able to just go out there and be open the whole game. There was a lot of those plays where either he was in the zone or he had to make a difficult catch. So just overall, great defensive effort. And then you talk about special teams. That is our offense right now in terms of scoring. The offense, obviously, they have to do some things to get back, but they didn't drop the ball. I mean, they didn't give the ball away, and that's important. That wins you games. So just great overall team win.
This is another game where the Jets faced a double-digit deficit early, 14-3, and they needed a response, and they got one. And every time out at MetLife Stadium here this year, when they faced a big-time quarterback, it started with Josh Allen in Week 1. It continued against Patrick Mahomes in Week 4, and we saw it today against Jalen Hurts. That was a career-high 3 interceptions. I mean, they were after him, and they got into his head. And this Jets defense, it's inarguable now. It's one of the top units in the National Football League, and for my money, they are elite.
Well, you know, you won a great effort because you were going into a bye, so you knew that you could lay it on the line, give that extra effort. All those guys knew that, you know, this is going to be an easy week with the bye week, and they're going to get some time off. So, hey, in your mind, you're telling yourself, well, let's sell out, right? And let's find a way. And as the game kind of gradually got closer, 14-3, and then it got a little closer, you start thinking, okay, well, hold on now. Halftime, we're only down, you know, less than a touchdown. We can do this thing. And you find yourself in the fourth quarter, you're there. So, yeah, a shout out to the special teams as well. I thought special teams was a good component. You know, Zerline has been really the offensive scoring for this team, and he's been money on all his field goals. And maybe you'd like to have seen him get a chance on that long field goal, decided to punt, put it back. The defense is playing well. But, you know, when you look at it from a big picture, Look, you're right. You try to find ways. How are the Jets going to win this game? Because you look at the Eagles, everything they got from top to bottom. And, yeah, they had players down too. But, again, you look around the league, everybody's dealing with that. Who can deal with it the best? And clearly the Jets have found a way now, especially with their quarterback, okay? 70% passer last 2 games. This game, no turnovers, and no turnovers through that last 2 wins for them. So, again, Zach's kind of doing his job. Offensively, red zone's got to be much better.
Sure.
When you get down there, it's been 2 games in a row, and it's not going to take much. Clearly, if the defense is going to play like they're playing, you don't have to score a lot of points, but a touchdown, a second touchdown, and then you get a bunch of field goals because you're driving it down the field, or the defense is making stops and the field position's on your side. Man, I mean, you don't need a lot, right? So, again, 2 weeks to figure it out, right? You got to find a way to do it, get healthy, and get those things fixed so you can get that combination you want on offense and defense.
Yeah.
No Sauce Gardner, no DJ Reed, no Brandon Eccles. The Jets were without 3 of their top 4 cornerbacks, but they continued to make plays all game and at every level, including the safety position. Tony Adams back in the lineup when the Jets needed a play late. TA with the interception that set up the game winner. Caroline Hendershot talked to him after the game.
Here with Tony Adams. Tony, walk me through that interception that helped seal the game for the Jets.
So my coach M and Brick told me, show like I'm blitzing, because a lot of the game we was blitzing them. So I just did what my coaches say. They showed me to show the blitz. I did. I dropped back in my zone, and it was just there, and I had to catch.
How did this Jets defense step up today? Both DJ Reed, Sauce Gardner out today, but this defense stepped up to the challenge.
Hell yeah, we did. Like we said, like Britt let me talk before the game, and like me and Jay White said, we standing on business. It don't matter who out, like we got to stand on business. Ain't no drop off. And them boys played their ass out. Shout out to them corners. They played their ass out. Shout out to Brick them for the game plan. Hey, this was a great win.
You just beat the 5-0 Eagles. You just beat the undefeated Eagles. How does it feel?
We did what we were supposed to do. We played to the standard.
Congrats, TA. Congrats.
Thank you.
Great job by Caroline Hendershot and Tony Adams. That one position, a lot of people asked, what were the Jets going to get out of the safety position this season? And how about him coming up with the game's most pivotal play? I mean, obviously, Breece Hall gets the touchdown, but he puts you in position to win.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're going to break it down a little bit later, but this guy really came up to play. And that's a guy, I think, going into the season was a little bit of a question mark. He didn't even play in the preseason, so that tells you how much confidence they have in him. And he came through today. He did exactly what he needed to do. He was in the right spots, even confusing Jalen Hurts. So it's a great job by him. Great job overall by the defense. You know, you love to see those type of games. Like stats-wise, a lot of times you'll look at box score and you'll see the yards that A.J. Brown put up. But you got to look at the whole picture, and you really have to watch the game. And that's what's so important about these things. When you watch it, it was a total dominant effort from the defense. They did a great job of locking down what they needed to lock down and really helping the offense, right? The offense wasn't able to put points on the board, but they were able to put themselves in a position to help the special teams put points on the board.
You mentioned before, anytime you win the turnover battle by 4-0, 4 takeaways for your defense, and you did not turn the ball over offensively, you're always going to have a chance to win the game.
Yeah, you are. And, I want to give a shout-out to some of those corners that played today. I don't think a lot of Jets fans know who they are. And, you just talk about, Craig James going out there doing his job.
Had a deflection.
Tay Hayes going out there, Breece Hall. So, again, stepping up and just filling your role. And then the Eagles try to attack those guys. Hall got a lot of action his way. They try to do different things. Some nice pass defense. I think you said there's 12.
Yes.
Pass defense
12 PDs
in the game.
Crazy number.
That's incredible. I mean, if you got Reed and Sauce and all these guys playing together and they get 12, that's a hell of an effort.
Yeah.
And you got a mixture, a bag of guys coming out there. Not a lot of reps in game action situation. Of course, they're practicing and doing it, but from live bullet standpoint, to step up and do that was really exceptional. I thought our linebackers were just incredible. Mosley and Williams, to me, are becoming a combo that is as deadly as any combination at linebacker in the league.
Yeah.
The speed, the quickness. You got the peanut punch by Mosley in the game to knock that ball out for the fumble. And Quincy Williams, to me, he looks like he gets faster and faster every week. He's a big-time hitter. He's around the football. I mean, you can't find a play on defense where he's not there showing up or around that the play.
Yep. No. The Jets' defense is certainly a big-time problem for opponents. Greg Zuerlein, You see a lot of Z on the board there. 5 field goals last week against the Denver Broncos, 4 this week against the Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to talk a lot about the Jalen Hurts apparent touchdown that was ruled a touchdown later. But Breece Hall gets the final score on this day, sending Jets fans home awfully happy. Let's bring in Ethan Greenberg from MetLife Stadium. Ethan, you were down there in the tunnel at the end of the game. What was the atmosphere like?
It was very reminiscent of the Week 1 Monday Night Football Jets-Bills game where Xavier Gipson actually was running at me. I was standing in the same tunnel, and Tony Adams intercepts the ball. The place went absolutely wild, and as you would imagine, fans, colleagues alike were going crazy as Tony Adams picked it off, and then Breece Hall runs it in. And then down the stretch there, of course, you feel a little bit of anxiety maybe because you know that there's some time left. The Eagles have a high-powered offense, but when Jordan Whitehead batted that ball down, absolute mayhem. Everyone was cheering, and like I said, very reminiscent of Week 1, EA.
What do you make of what the Jets have done against these elite quarterbacks they've faced throughout this 6-week stretch, starting with Josh Allen in Week 1, like you were talking about, Patrick Mahomes in Week 4, and then Jalen Hurts here in Week 6?
Well, Robert Saleh said we've played the gauntlet of quarterbacks here early in the season in the first 6 games, and he said we've embarrassed them all. And when you take a look at the stats, Jalen Hurts, 3 interceptions tonight against this Jets defense. Look, the Jets defense has done a fantastic job against some of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL, and I think that there's probably a handful of people watching this game that are like, you know what, maybe just the Eagles aren't playing their best brand of football. Well, here's the thing. Like you just said, the Jets have done this now against Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen. This is not a coincidence. This Jets defense is legit. We knew that coming into the season, and they continue to prove it game on and game out. And this tonight was the latest example of that, EA.
During the pregame show, Greens, you talked about a couple of Jets' recollections of the joint practices the green and white had with the Eagles back in 2021 in terms of how much the Eagles talked. I think the Jets, they got a right to do some talking after this one.
They definitely do. If anyone feels good about this game, as the whole team does, but maybe the person that feels best about this game is linebacker C.J. Mosley, because C.J. Mosley, like I said pregame, told me earlier in the week that he remembers a handful of Eagles players laughing at this Jets coaching staff in 2021 in the joint practices and training camp, and it was C.J. Mosley and the Jets defense that got the last laugh tonight. He told me that was motivation for him. He said, I've been waiting to play the Eagles since those joint practices in 2021. The Jets had an opportunity to do so tonight. The 12-0 mark that the Eagles had over the Jets is no longer, and C.J. Mosley had a forced fumble, second on the team in tackles, one of the best Jets defenders week in and week out. You got to tip the cap to the captain, and you know that he feels very good about this victory. 3-3 at the bye. I think anyone, if you're a Jets fan, would sign up for that given the trials and tribulations early on in the year.
Yeah, let's stay right there. Big picture, you are a guy who reports on this team every day. What do you think about the Jets being 3-3 at this stage, going into the bye with 2 consecutive wins in their pocket? Then after the bye, you look at the schedule. The Jets can't, but we can. We can talk about playing the Giants after the bye, the Chargers at home on a Monday night when you know that crowd is going to be electric once again. The Raiders. I mean, you just look at the schedule and you look at what this team has endured, Greens. What do you say about it? Because Aaron Rodgers, Week 1, goes down. Elijah Vera-Tucker went out last week. We saw rookie Joe Tippmann go out of the lineup today. And the Jets played this game without 3 of their top 4 defensive cornerbacks.
Yeah, what you just said is incredible, that the Jets were able to hold this Eagles offense. A.J. Brown had over 130 yards. He's a very good wide receiver. But the fact that the Jets didn't have Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, relied on Craig James and Tay Haynes, who were called up from the practice squad, is incredible. Now, looking ahead at the schedule, like you said, we can do that. Of course we can. And I think the nature of the NFL, there's going to be games that you're not supposed to win in the eyes of the media, and you do, and vice versa. So if you're the Jets, you feel good where you are right now at 3-3. 3-3. You have a favorable back half of the schedule, and I'm really hanging my hat on what Robert Saleh said, that the Jets offense is this close, he said, to finding the end zone. Again, they were relying on Greg Zuerlein against the Eagles a lot tonight, and I think that as this Jets offense continues to take reps, find its identity, Breece Hall was held in check to the #1 rushing defense in the NFL, but this offense is, in my opinion, and Robert Saleh's opinion, who you should trust more than me, very close to clicking. If Zach Wilson continues to play the way that he's played football, this Jets offense will click, and I think that the complementary football between the offense and defense will send this team to a whole other level in the back half of the season.
A great job today, Greens. We'll see you back here at One Jets Drive.
Awesome, EA. Appreciate it.
As we look at our game summary here, the most encouraging stat of all is that the Jets, of course, won the takeaway battle 4-0. On third down during this game, Philadelphia, 7 of 14. They converted 50% of the time. The Jets, just 2 of 11 on third down. Inside the red zone, the Eagles, 2 of 3. Conversely, the Jets, just 1 of 4. And the Eagles had more than 100 total yards than the Jets, but the Jets defense got the job done in an upset victory. Review right now, we're powered by Microsoft Surface. Speaking of being powered by, how about the Jets defense today, Q? 4 takeaways as we've spoken about. Let's get into the film on a pair, including Breece Hall's second takeaway in as many weeks.
Yeah, and this is a great example of team defense right here. Breece Hall had another week where he came in for cleanup. He's doing exactly what he needs to do. They don't need him to do too much, just be in the right place at the right time. So on this one, the Eagles are running a nice pattern right here. So you have this over here. This is where Jalen Hurts wants to go, and they're using A.J. Brown right here to take away the safety. So here we go right here. Let this play. This is why I say it's great team defense, because you're going to see Jermaine Johnson right here. This guy every week is playing with his hair on fire. A guy that at first had a slow start, but he's been coming strong ever since. So he's, oh, look at the move. Oh, man, let me just zoom in for you guys real quick, man, because you got to see this guy. I think they call this a hump move. Then he throws him off, just grown man business right here. Gets the pass deflection, and there goes Breece Hall in the right place at the right time for the interception. So, again, I want you to see this right here in the back. Like I said before, they were going here, and the guy was open. Good job by the defense. Just great team defense right there.
All right, give Jermaine Johnson 2 assists today, because earlier he was in on that screen.
Yes.
That was ultimately deflected, and Quinton Williams somehow came up with an amazing interception, his first career interception. Okay, so late in the game, the Jets defense needs to make a play once again. They're trailing all game, and here I thought the pressure started to get to Jalen Hurts.
Absolutely. You could tell he was a little rattled. You got Tony Adams right here. This guy, you talk about a guy there was some question marks with him coming into the season. Is he really that guy? He showed it here, had a great play. The Eagles are going to try to run a play right here. It's like a sticks play. Everybody get to the sticks. But the Jets had the perfect defense called. In and out on the tight end right here. Jalen Hurts thinks he has a guy that maybe he can go to. But, man, Tony Adams, just a great play. Takes it away. Thief in the night. Great play to help the Jets offense and Jets defense.
Thief in the night. And how about Jalen Hurts? By the end of that game, he's thrown off the back foot.
Yeah.
And there's 2 defenders in that area.
Absolutely. You know, he just wasn't making the plays that you usually see from this guy. He's usually a poised guy, but the defense came up strong.
Great stuff. And a guy who continually comes up strong for this defense, the captain, C.J. Mosley.
Here with C.J. Mosley. C.J., how would you describe what kind of performance this defense just put on?
It's hard to describe, man. A lot of love, a lot of effort. A lot of running and hitting, and we got some playmakers on that defense, man. I'm blessed and happy to be a part of it. We never down when we on the field. That's how we feel, no matter the score. I couldn't tell you how many times we didn't look at the scoreboards. When we get out there, it was like, hey, another opportunity, and we made the most of it.
You were telling me earlier this week about 2021, the joint practices, how you remember that. How much of that was on your mind today, and how did that fuel the defense?
Oh, for me, it was 100%. I've been waiting for that. I've been waiting to play them since 21. Just watching the tape. We like light years difference between our defense then and our defense now. Obviously, new players, the system changed a little bit, but just the way that group just progress. You know, we took those punches on the chin the last couple years. And, we have to learn. We have to learn through the ugly times on our defense. We have to learn how teams were attacking us. And we did a great job of executing our game plan at the end of the day. Now, obviously, there's things to work on. A couple tackles missed. I know I had a big one missed. But, you know, when it was time to make a play, our guys did.
3-3 entering the bye week. Just through all the trials and tribulations, what does that mean to you, and how important is that?
It just means we got enough people. You know, it's going to be injuries. It's the NFL. There's going to be some untimely ones. There's going to be some season-ending ones. That's every single year. But, you know, how do you respond? You know, how do you come to work? Just because some of my players got hurt, has our goal changed at all? I know mine haven't, and that's my job to make sure that everybody else keep that same mentality. So, man, great win. It's a great opponent. Hostile environment, even though we was at home. But, you know, for a second it sounded like it was a neutral site. Man, but let's celebrate it, man. You know, these victories don't come like this often. And we got to make sure we take advantage of it. And like I said, learn from the mistakes, keep building on the good stuff, and get ready for 2 weeks.
Awesome, CJ. Appreciate the time. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good stuff from Greens and the captain of the Jets defense, the heart of the Jets defense, C.J. Mosley. It is time for report cards. I want to throw a little curve at you guys and start with you, Quincy Enunwa, today.
Okay, let's do it.
Drum roll.
Because I kept it secret from you guys. So let's go with my first one. I'm going to go with offense. I get him a B-. So we talked a lot about the defense this whole week, today, but we didn't really give the offense much love, and for good reason, right? I gave them a B- because they came out with a win. They didn't turn the ball over at all, but there was a lot of unforced errors in this game. A lot of situations where you talk about the blindside block, then after that you get a drop. Then the next drive, you have the sack when you're at the 8-yard line that pushes you back to the 20. Now you got to kick a field goal. So multiple times there where guys could have made better decisions, whatever the case may be in that game plan, that could have helped them score. And again, you got another game where you're not efficient in the red zone. So just because of that, I had to give them a B-. I think if it would have came out with a loss, I would have given them a lower score. But I think no turnovers. You know, you do what needs to be done to help you stay in this game and win. So I gave them a B-. So let's go to the defense. Defense, I gave these guys an A. I really could have given them an A+, but I went with A. I loved how they played. You talk about being down 2 corners. That's not easy against this team. They got 2 great receivers, and they did a great job of handling it. Robert Saleh ran the right coverages to protect his guys, but also the guys were tight in coverage when they needed to be. Craig James got a pass deflection. Hayes got a pass deflection. Breece Hall was in there as well, you know, with an interception. So you got guys coming up, stepping up strong in a time where you think that, you know, that the underdogs are not going to be able to make the plays against a team that went to the Super Bowl. So these guys really rose to the occasion, and you love to see that when your guys that are two, three people deep are able to come in and make plays and be efficient. You know, you got to applaud that, the coaching staff and everybody in there. Special teams, give them an A. You know, nothing else needs to be said about those guys. Every week, Greg Zuerlein comes in, and he does exactly what we ask him to do. He makes the field goals that are needed and helps us stay in the game. And so for that, you know, I give those guys an A.
Couple A's there, A.B.
Yeah.
It's good grade.
I would say I'm pretty in line with Q here. Offensively, I go B-. I mean, listen, if you look at the stats, it was pure ugliness. If you look at the stats, 5 sacks, offensive line didn't play well. Not a lot of rushing, obviously. I don't think they utilized Breece Hall correctly early in the game. And when he did have touches, right, as the game went on, you saw the pop and you saw what he could bring to the table a little bit more in the passing game with the dink and dunk. But just a guy he's a guy that just wears you down over time. You just got to believe in his process. He will find a way to chop up some yards and get it done. Receiver-wise, you know, Garrett Wilson came to play. He has to make a lot of tough catches where he gets hit immediately or he's down on the ground real quick. That's just kind of where they are right now in the passing game. I need another receiver to step up. You know, like, where are you? Lazard, I get it. These are all guys that were part of the Aaron Rodgers project, but you got to find ways when you're 6'5", find a way to get this guy a few chances, a few times to get the jump ball, whatever it may be. He's just such a big target. And who that other piece in, you know, that mixture is. If it's going to be Conklin, it's going to be Conklin. But, you know, if it's Gibson or, you know, Hartman, whoever it may be, to kind of get an option guy where you just have those matchups, you got to do that as well. You know, from a quarterback standpoint, again, Zach didn't turn the ball over, and to me, that's huge. You know, there was a couple decisive plays. Sometimes you just throw it away. It's a better option. But again, And third downs, I guess that 18%, I think it was. I mean, it's just not good enough, in the red zone, of course. So all those things were bad. I could have gave them a less than a grade, but again, they were able to do some things when needed, and it was able to, really kind of come through late in the football game with a couple key first down conversions. Defense, it wasn't a straight A. I had to go A- just because you let up a receiver that had almost 140 yards receiving. Clearly you don't want to do that, especially being the fact that he's the only weapon. And then, of course, third downs. They were 50% on third downs, but I thought the ones that they didn't get were the key ones in the game. So it's kind of a mixed bag on that percentage because I felt like early on in the game, Eagles were kind of converting them. But as the game wore on in the second half, the defense really showed up across the board. An undervalued player, again, that continues to shine and not a lot of reps is Huff. Huff is a guy that got to the quarterback, and I just felt overall there was really good pressure by the defense, whether it was with DBs, whether it was with linebackers and the converging of the defensive line, and then shout out for the corners. I think only 4 corners actually dressed today, which is amazing to me. They were able to get through, and 3 of those guys don't get a lot of snaps, and just a great day for them, and just the turnovers in general. That was a hell of a performance by the defense. Special teams, I give you an A. Greg has continued to kick the ball well. Irvin Charles does a great job in the return, tackling all the different things that they asked him to do. He actually shows up. He's a guy that, okay, you bring him up to the roster, you got to do something, show up. You feel like they call his name out, twice a game since he's been up, which is a lot for special teams. So, again, it's a good deal. If you can get the offense to just get a little more, you won't have to sweat it out as much. Yeah. But, again, it was enough to win because of the fact that they didn't turn the ball over and they played good defense, and all the fans may not have saw a great game, but they found their team in a position to win the football game at the end, and they did it.
B- for me for the offense, 2 of 11 on third down. I believe 1 of 4 inside the red zone. Those numbers got to get better. But why I'm kind of lenient on the grades, fellas, is Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, electric. Yeah. They are electric. Yeah. Anytime the ball is close to them, Garrett Wilson was targeted 12 times today, 8 catches, 90 yards, including that great 33-yarder up the sideline. Breece Hall, he had the game-winning touchdown, 12 carries for 39 tough yards, and also he was targeted 5 times, 5 catches, 54 yards. So just for those 2 guys alone, I'm giving him a B-. And oh, by the way, no Elijah Vera-Tucker. Yeah. So you had to start Max Mitchell today. Joe Tippmann goes out early in the game. So listen, that's tough. Wes Schweitzer gets valuable reps in there. But again, that shuffling along that offensive line continues. Again, Zach Wilson, no turnovers. B-. Defense, A+, fellas. You guys forgot to give these guys a plus because they limited the Eagles to 14 points, and for my money, it was 7 points. We still got to talk about that Hurts touchdown. That was very controversial. But with that being said, 4 takeaways, a career high, 3 interceptions for Jalen Hurts today. Jermaine Johnson was all over the place. Quincy Williams, as you guys both have articulated, he's a star. Yeah. C.J. Mosley, great. You got contributions from all levels. And again, you're playing without Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, the best cornerback tandem in the National Football League. Yeah, A.J. Brown got his. You gave up 14 points. Winning effort, A+. Special teams was A. Special teams bottom line. Let me read these numbers for you really quickly here as far as teams are concerned. Zerline, of course, 4 of 4. Thomas Morstead goes under the radar, 48.5 yard average and 3 punts inside the 20-yard line. And, oh, by the way, Justin Hardy, one of the best special teams performers in the National Football League, he went on IR this week. Yeah. Great job by Brant Boyer and the fellas. The game winner today came courtesy of number 20. That's Breece Hall, Caroline Hendershot. Talked to him after the game.
Here with running back Breece Hall. Breece, walk me through that last play. What did you see to get the touchdown?
I just saw their defense was overplaying it and just went backside. They were overplaying it, playing stuff the whole game. So, when TA got that turnover. He got down there. I knew I was going to get the ball all 3 plays, and I knew I was going to punch it in eventually. So, the O-line came out that last drive and played great. Everybody did their 111th, and we scored a touchdown.
What did you think of the overall play from this team today?
Defense, missing some of our best guys, and defense played great. Offense, we're still getting better. We still got to get better. We're getting to the red zone too much to not be scoring. And teams are turning the ball over against us too much for us to not be putting up at least 21, 28, 35 points. So, we took a step today. We grew, and that's all you can ask for.
What's that next step of converting in the red zone before you guys head into your bye this weekend?
Really just locking in, and like I said, everybody doing their 111th. You can have one guy not be on their A game, and the whole play's ruined. So once we get down there, we just got to take a deep breath, lock in, and just do our job.
Does it feel extra good to know that you defeated an undefeated team?
It just feels good to know we have a win. At the end of the day, they're just a team just like we are. They're human. They could be beat anytime. So we came out and we beat them.
Awesome. Thanks for your time, Breece.
No problem.
You're watching Jets Overtime, presented by SiriusXM. The New York Jets take down the Philadelphia Eagles by a 20-14 score. Breece Hall gets an assist from the Philly defense there. I think they were comfortable with letting the Jets score on that play, so they had the ability to actually have a possession at the end of the game.
Look, however he gets in, he gets in. If that's the way the Eagles want to play it, that's fine. I probably would have applied straight up. They had 2 timeouts, and the Jets kick a field goal, then they only have to go 40 yards. But again, it's kind of the decision, maybe a little bit of the arrogance of how they feel offensively that at some point is going to click for us. Maybe it's the next time we get the football, and clearly it wasn't. It was a long-term problem for the Eagles offense today. I felt like, teams can put blueprints out there sometimes on how to beat them. I don't know if there's a blueprint there, but heck, I hadn't seen the Eagles play like that in a long time offensively. Yeah. And Jalen Hurts clearly, to me, was a kind of a rattled quarterback that, when I watched him on the bench, he just was glaring in nowhere. I don't know. And that, to me, like, guys see that, it just doesn't feed off, guys feed off that stuff. And you could see A.J. Brown, a couple of the throws to his way that he didn't get. He was upset about, the ball, the way it was coming to him and stuff like that. So again, that you cause that because your defense and the pressure you put on them, and that was huge, and that was a big part of it. And you talked about all the quarterbacks they've played so far and the way they've played against this defense. It has been a tough sledding for those quarterbacks. It's just, again, trying to find ways to get that combination of the offense to kind of figure it out. And when we talk about Breece Hall, you got to, so everybody thinks I talk about Breece Hall because he went to Iowa State. I mean, clear, but that's not it. I've watched this guy enough. He needs touches. You're not going to, I think sometimes and look, I don't know anything. Sometimes, we can't use them too much because they know. It's okay if they know. Because Breece Hall doesn't care about that. It doesn't matter. He can find the creases. He can find places. He's got great vision. He can make linemen better. He knows how to set up a guy so that he goes one way so the line can get it done and go another. And if it doesn't happen on the first, the second, third, the fourth, the fifth carry, it's okay. The sixth, the seventh, it may pop after that, right? And then the passing game. He doesn't have to come out. And I get it. We got to give the guys breaks, and we put guys in on third downs and different. And no disrespect to those guys. They're good players. But Breece Hall, when he catches the ball, he can make magic happen that way as well. He's a guy that's complete. Utilize him that way properly. When he goes like this, that's when you take him out, the tap on the helmet. I can promise you, I never seen him do it. 750 carries in college, I never saw this. At some point, you take him out, give him a break, but I just think he needs more plays. Let's see how that works out coming out of the bye.
All right, I don't want Katie and Matt to be mad at me right now in the back. So let's get to socially speaking right now. There's the graphic. Here we go. We had to talk about Breece a little bit.
Fly, Jets.
Fly, Jets, fly. Jermaine Johnson with some shade towards Philadelphia. DJ Reed, our defense, putting out clinic tape. DJ Reed. You got more picks than me. I love that. Quinnen Williams with his first career pick here this afternoon at MetLife Stadium. Garrett Wilson.
Talk crazy on that field.
Don't talk crazy. We taking names.
Okay.
Oh, Joe Namath's happy tonight.
Man, cleaning up to make the board, huh? I like it.
Against all odds, Michael Carter II, man, he's such a consistent force there at the nickel position. All right, let's get to the winning quarterback right now, and with the voice of the Jets, Bob Wischusen.
It's huge. That's a good team right there. You know, I think you can see how much we all rally around each other. Defense had our back, taking the ball away. A lot of negative plays on their side, so that was awesome. I mean, getting us the ball back, especially right there at the end to seal the game. I mean, huge. So hats off to this whole team for battling.
Strategic question. Were you guys thinking about, I probably had this conversation, if they let us score, do we take the touchdown or do we kneel down somewhere inside the 5-yard line? They let you score and you took it, which then meant they needed a touchdown to beat you rather than a field goal. It's a really interesting debate. I'm sure it's one that you guys had. What was that discussion like?
Yeah, we didn't talk about, you know, I'm sure the coaches did obviously, but out there in the headset with what I get, you know, we just said, hey, let's go play and let's score a touchdown here. They obviously gave it to us, but, you know, I think that was a conversation they had, but obviously it worked out well for us because it was the right thing to do.
Thinking about all the injuries that you had this past week as well coming into this game, how banged up the back end of the defense was, just even a little bit more on how that group performed. You had to dip down to the practice squad, this roster did, to take on that Eagles offense.
Yeah, both sides of the ball, man. Same with our offensive line as well, and those guys on defense. I mean, you can't give those guys enough credit. Stepping up in big moments, making key plays. I mean, you see the skill players they have on that side of the ball at receiver, so stepping up big. I mean, those guys did an unbelievable job. It was really impressive.
And final question, now you have the bye week. Little extra practice time. What needs to happen to make you guys a little more efficient? So again, it's field goals that seem to be happening a little too often rather than touchdowns.
Yeah, as much as I love Zerline, he can't be the player of the game every week, and we gotta get the ball in the end zone. It starts with us, and we got to be able to score some touchdowns.
Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
All right, that's Zach Wilson, guys.
That's a good line from Zach Wilson.
I like Zach. I like Zach this year, man. He's really mature. He's answering the questions the way they're supposed to be answered. I mean, this guy is definitely turned a leaf. You can tell not only on the field but off the field. Like, you know, this guy, he's matured.
Game balls. We're starting with you, Coach Becht.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Quincy Williams. You know, 12 tackles. The kid's flying around all over the place on the field. He's got tremendous speed. Guys, he's 5'11". I mean, he's not the prototypical size linebacker, but he just gets it done. And I love that because there's a lot of good linebackers across college and the pros that kind of get looked differently upon because they're not quite 6 foot. And he, to me, is clearly one of the best backers in the NFL. So kudos out to him. He's a tremendous leader. And the fact that C.J. Mosley is the dog, this dude is like dog part 2, which 2.0, which is great. So those two guys combined is really nice to have. And as much as C.J. is the leader of the defense, Quincy is the leader of the defense from a performance standpoint because he just shows out. So it's a perfect mesh between those two guys.
A lot of dogs on that defense, Q.
Definitely. Honestly, I would have loved to go CJ, but I chose to go Tony Adams, right? The reason why I talked him up in the show a couple times already, I mean, the guy, like I said multiple times, I'm going to say it over and over again, he wasn't expected to be a guy going into the season. And then we found out that he is that guy. And this is a game where he showed up. I mean, that play right there that we're showing, I mean, to be in the right place at the right time, to read the quarterback's eyes and jump that route. I mean, the guy's a talented safety. There's a reason why he's in that position. There's a reason why the team trusts him the way they do. So I had to give him the game ball.
I'm going Jermaine Johnson. Honorable mention, Breece Hall. Those guys on the edge. I love that pair. Breece Hall, a sack and a half tonight. This afternoon at MetLife Stadium, and Jermaine Johnson with a couple assists on those takeaways. The first one coming on Quinnen Williams' first career interception, and then he creates the pop fly that Breece Hall comes down with. Jermaine Johnson continues to show his progress in year 2. Love the Jets defense at every level. Speaking of the Jets and that win today at MetLife Stadium. Emotional locker room after the game. Here's head coach Robert Saleh.
Last night I talked about the things that inspire me. The things that inspire me, the people in my life. Y'all inspire the shit out of everybody in this fucking league. Every single play, the way the resolve, the fight, defense going out there, pitch a fucking shutout in the second half. Offense, moving the ball up and down the field. We're that fucking close.
Let's go. Family on 3.
1, 2, 3. Family!
Almost forgot it. C.J. Mosley breaking it down. I hope you all enjoyed that at home. I don't know if we heard the entire speech.
I felt fired.
But obviously,
I read the body language.
Plenty of reasons that locker room to be pumped up right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So final thoughts here. Jets 3-3 heading into the bye. I think before the season, a lot of people looked at the schedule and said, well, the Jets, that could be a gauntlet for them. And that was with Aaron Rodgers. That was with Elijah Vera Tucker. That was with Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed playing every game. But here they are, 3-3, and they can't do it inside that locker room, but I can do it. I'm going to look at that schedule after the bye and say, hey, I think the Jets have a lot of wins remaining on the schedule.
Yeah, a lot of guys sold out today, which was great. They put it all on the line, knowing you got to buy next week. Yep. I think the biggest thing is everybody's got to get healthy. All right, maximize your days off. I'm sure Coach Saleh is going to give these guys some days off. Get with your family, get the recovery room, get yourself ready for the push. And you look, you got a lot of spots you need to improve. You got to find ways to be better in the red zone, the third down. You know, how you want to call plays sequentially wise on offense, how you want to kind of build this out and say, okay, this is the body of work we have with Zach Wilson as our quarterback. Now, what's our best stuff? What's our best moves? And how do we maximize the offense moving forward so that we can put ourselves in a position to be in every game and win it in the fourth quarter when our defense comes out there and shines? Because, listen, as good as the defense has played, it's very difficult to do it every single week defensively. So at some point, you got to kind of catch up to that so that you can have and find a way to do it. So they have 2 weeks to do it, but it is a nice place to be, 3-3. However they got there, 3-3, and you put yourself in a good position where every game is continued to still be meaningful then moving forward.
Quincy, this team is this close from being 5-1, if you really look at it.
Right. All the games are really close. And I think when you looked at the schedule going into the season, you could really tell that it was going to be a tough make, and 3-3 was going to be something you would be excited about, even with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. So to think now you're there with all of the things that happened, right? O-lineman going down, obviously Aaron Rodgers going down, you lose both your corners, and you still end up 3-3 by the bye. I mean, this is a great place to be. I think a lot of times we looked at some of these games earlier in the season, we were like, oh man, they're not playing great football. But honestly, this is the start of the season. This is the early parts. They're not going to be playing December football right now. So to see the way that they're playing, and it's only week 7, and they're going into the bye week. I mean, this is a great football team. They just have to be able to put it together. So just like AB said, third down, red zone, all those different things coming together on the offensive side, and then defensively just being consistent. This was a great game by the defense, but last week we didn't have that same game. So if we can carry that through the year, it's going to be a great year for these guys.
All right, let's end here. The Jets were underdogs in every one of their 6 games to date. Every one of them. Well, when they come back after the bye, I know the Giants are beating the Bills right now. It's early. But I think the Jets will probably be favored in that game. They could be favored on Monday Night Football at home against the Chargers. Could be favored again against the Raiders. Obviously, got to play in between the white lines. I wanted to ask you guys about the guy who made an appearance at MetLife Stadium who was throwing on the field today. That was Aaron Rodgers. He's lurking in the background in a positive way. What do you think about this? See, this is 5 weeks removed from sustaining an Achilles tear.
He's Wolverine. Just healing.
I don't know, but I'll just say that I can't speak on it because I only know Achilles injuries and the recovery time up to the point till he got it. Now, I have no idea what to think.
Yeah.
I get kind of, when I see him out there, I'm kind of scared, kind of excited, kind of like, how's that even possible? Right. Listen, he's still got a long way to go. Okay, however he gets there or tries to get there, let's see what happens. But the bigger picture is what everybody else can do to try to put themselves in a position to see. So, yeah, it's cool. I'd like to 5 more yards behind the yellow line be better for me because we don't want any sudden movements if somebody comes running to the sideline. But hey, man, look, he's doing his thing. He knows his body. They're trying some stuff. Seems to be that there's a little bit more speed into the recovery process. So let's see what happens here. After this month, what could he possibly be doing? And after that month, and then are you in a position to make a move?
Q, I just like the mindset.
Yeah, no, definitely. He's a leader, and like I said, he's Wolverine. The fact that he's healing the way he is and he's out there doing that, I mean, it's amazing to watch. We'll see what happens, as the season goes on.
Yeah, we're going to see what happens as this season goes on. The Jets head into the bye 3-3. A great win over the Philadelphia Eagles, a dominant defensive effort. And as we sign off here from One Jets Drive with Anthony Beck and Quincy Enunwa, here's one thing you can put in the record books now. The New York Jets have a win over the Philadelphia Eagles, okay? That was the last team in regular season play they had never beaten. That's over now. Just going to bye on a high note, and the Eagles take the first loss of the season.